Dads, let's be real. Trying to balance faith, fitness, and fatherhood is no joke. We've all been there, long days, little sleep, and somehow we're supposed to stay strong for our families. That's why we sat down with Adam Broad, personal trainer, functional nutritionist, and former pastor, to talk about what it really takes to stay strong as a dad. We get into struggles, funny moments, practical steps every dad takes to lead their family well. So, if you've ever felt like you're running on empty, this one's for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into this message with Adam Broad.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, yeah.
My name's Adam. I live in Utah, but I'm originally from Louisiana, via Tennessee. I've moved all over the world, but I'm, married to my wife, Kim, got one daughter, Zoe. She'll be 14 actually this weekend.
Wow.
So we're heading into those years that people warn you about, but she's a good kid. So I think we'll make it through. But I'm a personal trainer, functional nutritionist, was a pastor for years, worked in ministry and churches for the last 30 plus years. And we're out here in Utah, living the country life and trying to help people. So, we're in a good place.
That's awesome. Yeah, we both were raised in church. I'm
Nice.
not on staff, but I'm the creative manager director at my church, and then we both play on the
Okay.
worship team at our church.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. To be honest with you, I did not realize that. That's freaking awesome. It helps me skew some of my answers a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's
That's
funny because
awesome.
we talk about that. Like, we don't seek out. Obviously, you don't have to be a Christian to be on the podcast. We don't seek it out. We want to talk to everybody, but it happens. Like every guest we've had has been like Christian or has faith in some way. So it's really cool.
That's
They'll throw
super
a little
cool.
hint in there, and you're like, "Oh, I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
it's like-
about." Yeah,
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
This guy read the Bible today.
yeah,
That's funny. That's
yeah.
funny.
It's so cool,
But-
so cool.
Yeah. That's something we kind of talk about more recently because we've both kind of been on the unhealthy side of life, and now we're more coming to the healthier side of life.
Okay.
And so we talk about being healthy or being mentally healthy, financially and spiritually.
Okay, very nice, dude. Well, I may convince you of the physical side too.
That one's in there. I like to forget what we say sometimes, but that one's
I'm
in there.
gonna throw that jab in there.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm totally joking. Dude. I'm just
No,
a
no,
meathead
we
and I
need it,
want
man.
everybody to
Yeah.
lift weights.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, we're out here, dude. We're just trying to live life and help guys know Jesus and be healthy. Like, cause that's what I do. I focus on people who work in the nonprofit or church space, to either find their health or continue in their health so that they can keep doing what they feel like God's called them to do. Right. So the last thing you want to do, I tell people, the last thing you want to do is stand before the Lord early because of choices you made. Right. So, I mean, it's like,
Good.
we can work on some things, so that's kind of the vein I focus in, but it's been really helpful. So
Yeah, we
Yeah,
both
you
been
wanna-
on a
Okay.
good day.
Nope.
Oh, we both been on like a weight. Like when we were younger, we were heavy. I got real heavy due to depression and just lack of doing stuff. And so now we're both on more of a healthy kick. DJ, he's really proud of this. I was at his house last week, and he likes to show off that he can like hold himself up just on his fingertips now. So he's really proud of that.
yeah, dude, freaking monkey
We were
hands, dude.
Yeah.
We
Monkey
were
hands,
we were doing yoga with the kids, and so every once in a while I'll do yoga with them, but it's more like throughout the week while I'm at work. My wife, she'll spend some time with them, and they'll all do yoga together. And
That's
so there were
cool.
certain poses that I was like, "That's a cool pose. I want to do that one."
Yeah.
So
That's
I just
really
started-
the only way I do yoga is to do cool things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sitting, like I don't do yoga personally just because I don't have the patience for it. But if somebody shows me a cool pose, I'll be like, I'm still 14 years old. I'll be like, hey Kim, that's
Yeah.
my wife. Kim, watch this. So I still do stuff like that. So, but yeah, doing it on your fingers, bro, is not a joke. You got to get it done. I have a video of me and my daughter when she was like 3, and I was doing some like downward dog. I was just stretching, man, because I was just beat up from lifting weights. And my daughter starts doing it with me, and my wife is recording, right? But she did like half a second of a pose, and she's in her diapers, and she's like, "Okay, Mom, I done now," right? And she's like brushing her hair out of her face, like she's just exhausted. You know what I mean? I was like, she did 8 seconds of yoga.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was awesome. So every time somebody talks about yoga, I think about that. It just makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, it's cool to see when your kids try to copy like a push up or a sit
Mhm.
up or something. They try their hardest, and it's like they get their bottom half moving, but their top half is just staying up. Yeah, it's so funny.
It's like
Yeah,
the most awkward movement.
yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah, I
You're
used
like,
to do
yeah, I
that as
did
well.
push
Like
ups.
we would go in the garage and we would race. You know,
Okay.
we would do like a circuit and we would race the whole time, and she would cheat the entire time. Like she would just, and I was like, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so she would just cheat the whole time, and she would win every time. You know, so it was awesome. But she don't do that now. She's 14.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit. Our kids are a little bit younger.
Okay.
So my son Nate, he's 4. He's
Okay.
almost 5 in July, and then we have Elijah and Rylan, our twins.
Whoa.
Funny story. We were like, you know what? He's 2 or about to be 2. Let's go ahead and try for another. And we only planned on having 2 kids total. And we are at the doctor's office, and my son, his favorite thing to say at the time was, "Daddy, what's that?" I said, "That's your sibling." Once the sonographer, yeah, put the video up, and then she was like, "Try siblings," and I was like,
You were
"Oh,
like,
you're having twins." Um, uh, crazy enough too,
DJ
though.
passes out.
Yeah, pretty much. It was actually weird. All 3 of us, my wife, Jasmine, myself, and the person doing the sonogram, all of us thought twins as we're walking back there. And what's
Really?
also pretty cool is we can tell that she's never explicitly told us that she was a woman of faith, but
Okay.
her music playing back there was like Maverick City Music and Bethel Music,
Okay.
and
Yeah. So she maybe
immediately
all
we
the spiritual
recognize the
speaking
music.
through, man.
Yeah, and we think, and it was kind of like, yeah, it was like but it was also, there's a peace in the room
Yeah, dude.
about
You
it.
just weren't specific when you prayed. You know, you did.
That's the joke
Yeah,
that we
you
say.
weren't specific, dude. You had 2 pregnancies.
Yeah,
Right. So it's like, if I could have
God,
had twins, we would have had twins, man. We had a lot of trouble having kids. So like we had lots of miscarriages through the years. So we were happy with 1. But if we could have had twins, if we could have shot a double shot, dude, I'd have been at it. Dude. Like, I'd have been giddy.
that
But we're
that
excited.
was
Dude, man. That's awesome, dude. Twins. I have a buddy with twins, and they're like twin boys. And dude, they are a lot. Like they are just take chaos and just exponential chaos, But they're such good kids now. They want to beat me up. They all do martial arts and they want to beat me up every time they see me. So it's fun. It's fun, man.
Yeah. So we have 2 boys and a girl.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So you had twin boys too.
No, so Nate, our oldest, and then Elijah and Rylan.
Okay, so you had a boy and a girl. You had
Mhm.
what is that? Fraternal twins?
Fraternal. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, that way you probably see similarities in them, but more personality than looks, maybe, or do they look a lot alike too?
It's more personality than looks.
Yeah, I would say that people are like Nate and Elijah look more alike, and that's just because they're boys. I feel like, but yeah, my daughter, she's got my hair color, and
she's a ginger, man. Let's go.
She's a ginger, and then Nate, he has just brown hair like Jasmine, my wife,
Beautiful.
and then Elijah has the mix, and he has auburn hair. So
okay, so you got like a spectrum.
Yeah, spectrum.
That's cool, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty
awesome.
cool how that ended up working out. What's also cool is, like, how you always hear 3 kids, there's always a middle child, there's a youngest, and then there's the oldest. Well, obviously Nate's gonna fall in the realm of oldest because he's just oldest, but it actually still is that way. Even with twins, it's Nate is the oldest, Elijah acts like the middle child, and my daughter acts like the baby. So I don't know how that even. I was like,
you guys came out literally almost at the same time.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe it's a pecking order personalities
Yeah.
just fall into.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't like. I was the oldest, but my sister is far more in charge than I am. You know what I mean? Because she's my sister. You know what I mean? So
Uh-huh.
even now, she's younger than me, but she's like, we're doing this. You know, she's in charge of everybody. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm good. I don't need to be in charge. But it's funny. I think it's personality too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Do you have kids, man?
I do, yeah. I have well, he just turned 9 on Sunday. My
Nice.
son,
Let's go.
yeah.
That's a
And
good
my
age, dude.
Yeah, he's starting to get into. So I do a lot of like social media stuff. I do like gaming on YouTube and stuff like that. He's starting to get into that. He's like, "Oh, I want to build a YouTube channel." Dad. I was like, "Dude, if my parents would have let me do a YouTube channel when I was your age, I'd be way farther than I wanted to be now." So I was like, "Let's do it." So he wants to do like video games and stuff. I was like, "Dude, everyone's got a video game channel. What makes Micah different?" So he's actually getting into coding, and he's got this little robot and stuff. So he's gonna make coding videos for kids. So it's really cool.
Dude, that's super cool. Super cool. You got a little brainiac on your hands, dude, coding and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, my daughter is more of a creative. Like she draws, does animate. She's starting to animate.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, you can get into CapCut, you know, like you can get into CapCut and make templates and stuff. She's been making templates and she's earning money that way. Dude, she made like $50 the other day. Like, just people sharing her template. I was like, okay, well, we got a future. Let's go. You know what I mean? So that's really cool. It seems like a lot more kids are getting into the creative kind of side because it's so accessible.
Yeah.
You know, you just need a phone and you can just start doing stuff. But
that's how my daughter is. She has an art easel, and then she loves like making cards and making food out of like slime and everything. So she's very creative in that kind of mind space. So she's fun.
That's
She's
awesome.
my daughter's, how old is Mia now? 7. She'll be 8 this year, so she's 7.
Yeah, those are good ages. I remember like from like 7 up to like 10, 11, great ages, man, because they still think you're the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
They're super autonomous. They can kind of do their own thing, but you can kind of direct it a little bit. You know, I'm stepping into the new world right now, so I'm just like, I've got an adult who tells me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm like, oh, hang on a second here. What's happening? Why do your eyes roll so hard? I don't understand. Like, how do they physically do that? You know? And he's got little ones, so you're just literally holding on for dear life, you know, when you have little ones.
Yeah, we're almost to the point where we're kind of getting out of. It's still chaotic, but they have each other to play with, and
that's so
they're a little more
good,
autonomous.
man.
Yeah, so it's
when
it's
everybody's
cool
out of diapers.
That's going to be
they're on the cusp. They're almost there.
Dude,
yeah.
No more poopy diapers. Oh my gosh, let's go, man. You know, because like mine, I don't know if she's a tomboy or not, but she just run around with poop in her pants all day, dude. I'm like, what on earth? Could you not mention something?
Right. Yeah.
Like, she would just go for it. And so funny.
I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm good. I'm like, no, you're leaving marks.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not. Yeah, that's Elijah.
That's fun, man.
He'll walk around with poop in his head. Hey, bro, you got poop in there? No. It definitely smells like you got some poop in there. Yeah,
he just doesn't want to stop to do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You ever had flashbacks as a parent? Like, my kids haven't been in diapers for a very long time. I was at this guy's house last week, and Elijah destroyed his diaper, and it was one of those ones where it was just everywhere. And I walked in the kitchen, I was like, whoa, and just those flashbacks come.
Dude, freaking trauma. You start getting trauma. Like my daughter, I remember one time she was in the car, and she just rips one, wow, and it just goes up her back.
Oh gosh.
Into her hair. I'm like, what kind of digestive forces were required to projectile rip that thing up? And dude, the car seat was never the same. You know what I mean? Like, I have trauma from that, dude. Oh, and they start eating real food. You're just like, oh my God, so gross. You know, it's just, it's all part of it, dude.
Yeah, you see the bits of pieces of food that you gave them. And you're like, I don't want this food ever again, you know?
Like, first of all, why is that not digested?
Right.
Second of all, why am I having to touch it a second time? You know what I mean? That's funny.
No worries, yeah.
That's cool, man. It's really nice to get to meet you guys and get to know you. Hopefully, we could do it again sometime.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So, question: you talking about nutritionists and stuff like that. Growing up, what was your, you know, growing up, what was food like for you, and then how now as a dad do you look at food for your daughter?
Oh, that's a good question. So I'm probably I'm a bit older than you guys. So I
I'm
grew up 70s, early 80s,
okay.
right?
Okay.
So food was just like whatever your parents gave you. You know what I mean? So it was like mostly canned goods, packaged foods, because that's when a lot of like processing really started happening.
Mm-hmm.
So you would end up with, you know, they used to have this thing called Schwann's. It was a refrigerator truck would drive around to your house and sell you stuff like right in your driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it was just like the best, like French bread pizza. It's all super processed. Like, dude, it could still be there intact now with the preservatives that it had, you know. But food was just whatever. You know, when I was growing up, it was just your mom and dad are just trying to get calories into you. There was no real sense of, you know, hey, we're trying to eat good, we're trying to be healthy. There was none of that. I grew up in Louisiana too, so it was all Cajun culture. So, you know, we're eating gumbo and jambalaya and crawfish etouffee. I mean, there's a reason why we're the fattest state in the union. You know what I'm saying, dude? It's because everything's delicious. And so there was none of that. But when I started getting older and I realized like my diet really had a lot to do with like my ADD, anxiety, depression kind of stuff that I was dealing with, it really started shifting us to really just to focus on it, not to be obsessive, but to focus on just being conscientious about it. So we try really hard. Like my daughter knows what carbs, fats, and proteins are. You know what I'm saying? Like she knows like the order of foods we prefer to eat in. So we're not super obsessive about it, but we have tried to teach her like every time you eat, you're making a choice of some form, you know, and you're either choosing something that's going to help you or you're choosing something that's going to maybe not work in your favor. So we just try to help her. So she's like the other day, she's got eczema and we've tried to tell her like, hey, you know, you probably need to be gluten free just because most everybody nowadays has got some gluten problem.
Right.
And so she doesn't listen. And then the other day she's like, you know, I'm going to do gluten free for the next 30 days and see if my eczema gets better. I'm like, oh, okay. So she's thinking, you know what I mean? So she is listening, you know, so we just try, you know. I feel like the big difference between people who stay relatively healthy and those who don't are those who are just intentional or conscientious about it. You're trying, you know, and if you're trying, you're moving in the right direction usually. So yeah, that's the way we think about it. We try not to be too obsessive. Otherwise, you know, food becomes an issue and then, you know, people have eating disorders or they just do the opposite of what you say, you know, and then it starts becoming body image stuff because she's a 14-year-old girl. So I can't say anything about what might happen to your body.
Yeah.
You know, you can't address that. I can't address that at all as a dad, you know? So I just like, yeah, we're just making the best choices, you know? That's all I can really do. So we try not to be too crazy.
Yeah, that's good. I like the choice. One, it creates that independence. They can understand too when they're making that choice and they see how it affects their body. They start to realize, okay, these are the consequences of my actions.
Yep.
That's kind of what my wife and we've been doing since they could dress themselves. So the kids, they get ready for themselves in the morning. They'll take their pull-up off, they'll wipe themselves, they'll, you know, get dressed. Dude. Yeah. So just creating that autonomy, the independence, because and if they don't make the choice to get ready, she will go downstairs. She'll shut the gate and says, whenever you're ready, the other two are going downstairs. You can choose to get ready and you can meet us downstairs. And so just kind of showing them that there's different consequences to your actions.
Yeah.
And so I like that. Like just
rather than just getting spanked.
Yeah.
Right.
Immediately. You know, like, you get dressed like because I said so. You know what I mean? Like,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a lot of things done because people said so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only reason I did it. That's
And then
actually that's an intelligent way to do it, man. Especially
Yeah,
when you have three, you got peer
sorry.
pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can use that to your advantage, in a healthy way. Like
In a healthy way.
they're getting to do this. You're not getting to do anything because you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's actually smart. I only have one, so I never got to use that tactic.
Yeah, it's definitely worked out some of the time. Obviously, like there's times where, but yeah, just give them that ability to choose, and then I know growing up, like it was whatever, because I said so, or
Yeah, dude.
we're never allowed to ask why or understand the reasonings behind things. So the fact that you're giving your daughter, here are like some of the reasons why I say to do this. You can choose to do it if you'd like to or not, and kind of like filling it that way, I think is great. Just gets them thinking. Okay, this is the reason behind why he's telling me what to do versus just telling me what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Because she's just when you have the differences is when you have an only, especially an only girl, they see themselves as your equal. They don't see themselves as she doesn't see herself as my child. She sees herself as my equal. So she's like, "What are we doing?" You know what I'm saying? Like I remember when she was like 6, she came to us and she said, "Mom, Dad, I really don't like it when you make decisions and you don't talk to me about it." And we're like, "Yeah, you don't pay any bills, so just go sit over there." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she just sees herself that way, so we can't be like, I'm your dad. You do what I say.
Right.
I can, and she'll do it, but because she thinks she sees herself like an adult, she's really autonomous and individualistic in her ways. So I have to like present principles and ideas and then let her choose,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've messed it up a lot, you're going to do it because I said, and then she's like, yeah, that's not going to work. Because you don't spank me. She got spanked like 2 times in her whole life. And even then, it was like, it took more effort to go get the wooden spoon than any effort I actually put into the discipline. You know what I mean? Because she just melted and, passed out, basically, figuratively. So it's just crazy. Yeah. Very cool, man.
We'll continue on more of the health side of things.
Yeah.
For dad aspect, for like, so I was talking about how me and DJ have gone through kind of our weight loss journey.
Yeah.
And especially for like me, I was 420 pounds, my heaviest.
No, you weren't, dude.
Yeah. And I'm not proud of it.
No, man. Yeah. But those are rare numbers, man. So and I mean, you're not that now. So that's impressive.
I have gone up a little bit. I actually just made a video about this on our channel. I'm back to 380. I'm not proud of it at all.
Okay.
But I did get down to 350 when I got down. But we started like keto. Me and my wife were going at it hard. But anyways, so like when I was at my heaviest, I had no idea where to start. You get overwhelmed. You're like, oh, where's this weight loss? There's this thing. There's this. You don't know what. So what is something, if there's a dad out there that's heavy and wants to start on a weight loss journey, what is something that you would say, just try this, or what is something that they could start doing today to kind of make the ball roll?
That's a good question. That's a good question, man. I think one, there's internal things to start with, and then there's external things that you can start with, and they're both low hanging fruit, right? The internal is you need to ask yourself why, like not why do I want to get healthy, but also why did I get this into this place, right? Because if you don't know how you got to a place, you can't reverse engineer your way out of a place. So we have to ask why did I get here? And it could be a myriad of reasons. You know what? I was just depressed and I was tired. I was working my butt off. I was dealing with some internal stuff that I didn't really want to deal with, because it's all there, dude. Like, we all got our own. I hate using the word trauma because everybody has corrupted it. You know what I mean? They turned it into, the Wi-Fi went out. I'm traumatized. No, you're not. You know what I mean? So, but everybody's got those wounds and those things that we're trying to navigate. And we're all making choices around them. So we have to figure out why. And then we have to have a why to push us forward, because motivation is not a thing, right? Motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes. People are like, I'm just not feeling motivated. Nobody cares. Go do the thing you're supposed to do because you're an adult, right? But if you have a why, like, I'm getting healthy because of my kids, because I want to play with my kids, or I don't want my kid to deal with this issue, right?
Mhm.
So I'm going to go ahead and nip this in the bud. And then the external is the most low hanging fruit is just start moving. Like, we have such a sedentary life, and it's very opposite to what our genetics require.
Yeah.
Our genetics, I mean, we're all Christians here. So if we look at the framework that man was created in, he was put, between the sun and the soil. He's put there, and then he was given a job to do, and it was a physical job. It wasn't like we can do now, which is like, hey, I'm going to code on my computer, which is great because it requires tons of creativity, tons of intelligence. But the physical nature of where we are and where we live requires movement. And movement is literally probably the number one medication, elixir, intervention that anybody can give you when you're dealing with your emotional stuff, your physical stuff, even spiritual. So I think just starting to move, like my brother-in-law, he's always struggled with his weight. Dude, he just got a treadmill for his desk, and he just walks like 20,000 steps a day now. He don't do nothing else. He eats the same. He does everything exactly the same. He lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
And for him, that was like percentage wise, huge, right? Because he's not a huge guy. So he lost like 40% of his, his body weight. Yeah. So huge amounts. So I think the first thing is why? How did I get here? Why am I wanting to change? And then two, start moving. Moving is the number one thing because it starts like, you have marketing funnels, right? Like you get people into the top of the funnel and then you work their way down. Movement is the funnel, the top of the funnel. Everything else starts to cascade into your health whenever you start moving your body around, right? Your appetite starts to regulate, your sleep starts to regulate better, your mood starts to regulate, all of these things which affect your physical size and health. So I think movement is probably, I know it sounds cliche. People are like, no, give us the secret. No, that is the secret, right? Move because you can, and move as much as you can, as often as you can, and just take your kids along with you, right? Like we do walks together. Like I force my daughter to go for walks. She's like, I'm talking to my friends. I'm like, well, bring them with you. I don't care. Like, but we're going, you know what I mean? Because you've been inside, you're a vampire. You've been inside for 2 days, But movement is the number one thing, man.
Awesome. I feel that because when I started my weight loss journey, I was doing, we started keto. I know keto gets a lot of hate, but for us, it worked. Like we just went to as little carbs, as little sugar as possible.
Yeah.
You get higher quality meats to do it because, there's some pretty crappy stuff out there nowadays.
Oh yeah.
And then I would walk a mile a day, and then I was doing it's not calisthenics, it's like kickboxing stuff. I have a VR headset, and there's kickboxing
so you're
on
just
that.
Moving. You were just moving around. Yeah, dude, that's a huge thing. And keto, I mean, look, I work with hundreds of people, and every person finds things that work well for them. Some people are like, they would rather be poked in the eye with a stick than eat keto. Right. You know what I mean? But I personally eat almost that way. I have plenty of clients that do, and it works. And there's a lot of science to back it up. But there's also science to back up other ways of eating, which just lets you know just how flexible the human body is, how adaptable it is. And not making progress literally comes down to you not doing something because your body is so adaptable and willing to just do whatever you ask it to do.
Yeah.
That it's really just comes down to up here. It's not has nothing to do with, oh, well, I'm big or what. It literally comes down to your mindsets and just your consistency. So yeah, dude, keto is great. I basically eat that way. I have carnivore people that I work with. I've got, hardcore bodybuilder people who are like chicken, rice, broccoli, I'm like, great, like chicken, rice, broccoli. Have gas. I don't care. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'm joking. But yeah, dude, low-hanging fruit movement is the biggest thing, honestly.
Awesome.
I was gonna say I really like that you mentioned the mind and
Mhm.
just getting mentally healthy, because you
Hmm.
said, not only is it why do I want to do it, but how did I get here? Why am I
Hmm.
here today?
Hmm.
Because when you start to understand the stuff that you've been through in life,
Hmm.
and because all the things add up, right? Everything to this point to where you're at today is all
Hmm.
because of all the experiences and everything that you have gone through in life to shape you and to be the person you are today. And also realizing that you realize that all the stuff you have to do to get mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy, then as you're moving, you're it's like all trickles down, right? Now your body is getting
Hmm.
healthy, and just realizing that, and also realizing that if you're 30 plus, you have 30 years of all these habits, all these things that have shaped you, all these things that it's going to
Hmm.
take a minute. Like people
Yeah.
think that they
Yeah.
want a quick fix, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not going to be
Yeah.
quick. It's been 30 years of doing all this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So like it's going to take a minute to get you where you need to go, where you need to be, where you want to be. And so I really like that. I really like, because we talk a lot about mental health,
Hmm.
but it starts with the mental, getting that healthy, and then as you're moving and you're getting your body healthy, like it's like the
Yep.
whole foundation is secure. So I
Mhm.
really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. The mental health side of things is huge. Like, I think people forget, like, I'm very much into the physical side of things. Like, I help people mentally, I help people spiritually. If people ask questions around it, but my avenue into that is physical usually,
Mhm.
because that's just where I feel most comfortable. But if you, like, I tell people all the time, they're like, well, this is so hard, to get fit or whatever. And I'm like, it's 20% your food and your diet and 80% managing your emotions,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just you're managing yourself. You're managing, my boredom or my need to feel some type of way, right? Like
Mhm.
you're constant, we don't realize how much we're in our heads and how much our emotions really dictate our actions, not the other way around. So, yeah, it really is. Like if you can start working on your mentality, your physicality will usually start running right behind it. If you're doing the things you should be doing. But
Yeah.
very cool.
Mhm.
Well, as we're about to come up on time here, we
Nah,
always like
dude,
to
just keep
ask.
going, man. I got
Yeah.
time. If you want to keep going, I got time, dude. Seriously.
Well, I have to. I mean, Alec can continue.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that, but for me, I got to hop here in about 5 minutes. My
Okay.
son, his first ice skating lesson today.
Mhm.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
he he's telling me, Dad, I'm gonna play for the Golden Knights. And
Let's go, dude.
yeah, I was like,
Dream,
come
bro.
on, it's gonna be a lot of
Mhm.
work, but we could do it, dude. You can do
Dream.
it. I
Let's
believe
go.
in you.
Golden
Yeah.
Knights.
Yeah. So one question that we always like to ask dads is, if you were to give a new dad or a dad going through it that
Mhm.
one piece of advice that maybe you wish you had when you started this journey, what would that be?
Oh man. Um, I would say you're doing better than you think you are.
Mhm.
Right. You really are. So what this is an issue. I don't know if you guys I'm going to talk about Stephen Furtick for a second,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
some people are like, oh, because he got biceps, but he came and spoke when he was much younger. He came and
Mhm.
spoke to our staff, and he talked about a scripture where John sent his disciples to ask Jesus if he was really the one. John was doubting, right?
Mhm.
He's in prison and he's doubting. Um, And then Jesus says, just go and tell him this. The blind see, the sick are healed, and people are set free, basically. Just go back and tell him that. So he basically sends his guys away without an answer, right? Not a definitive answer. He's like alluding to the fact that, yeah, I am the one. But then he turns around to the crowd and he talks about John when John's not there. And he talks about how great John is and how great he is Elijah, the one who was promised in Malachi, right? Like he is the fulfillment of this
Yeah.
thing. And Furtick starts talking about how Jesus talked about him behind his back because John couldn't see how good he was doing, but Jesus could see that he was doing exactly what he was supposed to be doing.
Wow.
right?
Mhm.
Because he was on the journey, but he just wasn't in the place he thought he should be in. He's in prison, dude. And nobody told him he was going to be in prison. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I've been wearing camel hair. I've been eating locusts and honey. What the heck? You know? But I think for most dads, if you are listening to something like this podcast, or you're at least trying, like you're working on your own stuff, you're trying to be healthy, you're asking yourself hard questions, you're concerned about your kids, you're watching how your kids respond to you and how you respond to your kids. If you're doing the things, you're doing better than you think you are, because the dads who you hear about, who, you know, the kids who talk about their dads like that have trauma and all this other stuff, those guys weren't trying, dude.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You know, everybody's going to come out of childhood with some scars. If you
Mhm.
didn't, did you really grow up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I think if there's any dad watching or listening, it's like, dude, if you are pushing forward, you are trying to do the thing, you're trying to be better. It doesn't matter whether some influencer says you're doing it right, or Huberman is giving you whatever the scientific cocktail for this or that. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. If you're making forward progress, you're doing good, right? And your kids are going to benefit from it, because being on the journey is the key to getting anywhere, right? If you don't even try, who cares? You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you're trying, you're doing better than you think you are. I can guarantee you that. And I wish somebody would have told me that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, dude.
First, before I hop off, I just want to say, and you guys can continue, but I appreciate you coming on here. Appreciate
Yeah,
you
dude.
being vulnerable, being able to share
Anytime.
just some advice, and it's definitely going to help somebody, even if it helps just one person. We always say this,
Absolutely. And that's the goal.
like that's just great. Yeah.
Mhm.
Then, yeah, I just want to say I appreciate you, but I am going to hop off. Thank you
Go
again, Adam.
Golden Knights, bro. Let's
Go
freaking
Golden
go.
Knights.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
All
in,
right.
dude. I'm in.
All
Hey,
right, cool.
peace.
See ya.
Thanks, DJ.
Yep.
Bye.
Well, just the two of us.
Yeah, dude. We can continue if you want. I got no pressure. I'm good.
Cool. I mean, I think so. DJ was asking, like, we'd love to have you back on. We like to continue conversations.
Sure.
We like to do part twos. Not a lot of people do that on their podcasts, where we're like,
They
we'll
don't.
bring
No, they
someone
don't.
back. It's like a one and done.
Yeah, dude.
So if you something, do you consider being back on one day?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, you guys are great. I mean, we spent a lot of time getting to know each other at the beginning.
Yeah.
But, if you want to schedule something for the future, I'm totally great, man. We'll talk more specifically about health in general, or just dadhood, or whatever, man. I'm in. I'm easy.
Awesome.
So,
Well, like DJ said, thank you for your time.
yeah, dude. Of course.
We appreciate all the a lot. There's not a lot of people out there just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go spend an hour with two guys I have no idea who they are.
I don't care, man. I don't care. I'm easy, man. I've spent a lot of time with people I didn't want to be with.
Mm.
So I'm good.
I
I'm
get
good
that.
with people who are cool.
Yeah.